We're going.
All right. So guys, thank you so much for joining me today. For those of y'all that don't know me, I am Betty Hernandez. I do have a boutique social media firm. That means it's just small because it's just me. So I help with branding and social media management and Pinterest account management as well. So that's kind of my focus is Pinterest, but I love all of it. And especially branding, which we're talking about today. And we can, kind of elaborate on different platforms and how those are going to help us in our business. Just kind of at a kind of broad overview, and hopefully y'all are going to walk away with some, actionable items that are really going to help you kind of drill down and focus on, what your branding looks like. So, first off, branding in general, it's just kind of, it sounds like a kind of a creepy corporate term or something, but it really doesn't have to be that way. And whether you like it or not, even up until this point, kind of the messaging that you've put out into the world has kind of created your branding as it is at this point. So branding is really the kind of cohesive impression and the way that you communicate with your community as well. All of that kind of contributes to what branding really is. So why branding is important is that it creates consistency, predictability, and also it's kind of transparency as well. And we'll kind of get to that in a moment, but that way your customers really know what they're getting, at face value. They don't have to really kind of dig down and, even scroll through your feed or anything to kind of get to know what you and your brand is about. So anyway, because a lot of us focus mainly on social media, that's what we're going to be talking about in particular. But branding really extends into a lot of different areas like your packaging. It is your table setup whenever you go and do an in-person event. It is, the business cards that you select, the Tuesday cards that you select. It can even be moving forward whenever you order Tuesdays for Color Street, the samples that you send out. Do you send them a nail art? Do you like to send them a solid or a glitter? All of those kind of tie into the way that you communicate and interact with your guests. So I call them guests. That's the restaurant in me coming out. So that's also kind of part of my branding as well. Maybe not the restaurant, like the food side of it, but maybe kind of like the customer service type of aspect of it. I'm like, they're guests. But again, we'll kind of elaborate on that in just a moment. So whenever you are trying to kind of build your community and your customer base and everything, it's imperative that you brand yourself because all of us are ultimately selling the same product, right? So, it's not like some other companies where people receive different prints and this and that, or I can go to Target and get some clothes or something and or I can go to Ann Taylor and get some clothes. And I know, basically kind of what those styles are going to look like, or, J. Crew or something like that. So you really kind of want to have the package and the service and the experience that people are looking for. So along with branding, we're kind of looking for making experiential opportunities. So also, relating with your customers and how you interact with them. People want to see something that they're comfortable with. They want to feel like they're almost looking in the mirror. And that can also be, people want to look into this mirror and see what they want perhaps their life to look like as well. So let's say if we look at our pages and we have amazing, pictures of our nails, our nail fees that we have posted on the wall. People want to have that experience themselves. They want to be the lady that has the beautiful nails. which is why they're coming to us anyway. But also they want to be a part of the community as well. So I'll kind of use my VIP community as an example and kind of pick and pull it apart. And that way you can kind of rebuild it, replace those parts, with things that are important to you and kind of rebuild them in your own communities as well. So my Facebook VIP community, it is located at nailwoo.com. And similarly, my sales page, I have hooked up shopnailwoo.com as well. So my VIP community is called the Nail Woo Lounge with Betty Hernandez. So I wanted to kind of create a lounge type community. Anybody that's maybe joined me live or hung out in my VIP group, maybe you've kind of picked up on, I like kind of retro type feel vibe. I like kind of like a bar or speakeasy type vibe, but I'm also a little bit woo-woo. I love like manifestation and, productivity and, inspiration porn and things like that. You have to forgive the term. It's just like, you can be looking at your Pinterest feed, scroll, and it's like, oh, that quote's awesome. So I'm like, okay, that's my inspiration porn. But that's kind of like the vibe of my group, really kind of encouraging self-care and, respecting yourself and taking the 10 minutes it takes to do your nails. Taking that 10 minutes, as simple as that is, it's like just this little morsel of time that you can take for yourself. So I want people to go into my community and be like, oh, this is a lounge. I can kind of kick back and relax and, look at like this inspiration stuff that I might have in my group, which might be a link to a YouTube video. It could be a quote, and it could be a beautiful picture of nails and celebrating somebody who took the time to do their nails and kind of spend like a little bit of time on themselves. So I do have 2 kids. I have a lot of moms in my group as well. So, I think that we kind of interact and respect the fact that we kind of get run ragged sometimes and don't take that time for ourselves. So that's kind of another plane that we connect on as well. So anyway, along with that, I've kind of taken that vibe, those feelings, and translated it into color palettes as well. So in addition to whenever you think of like a lounge, speakeasy, type of thing, I can kind of think of neon lights, but, bars and things are maybe a little bit darker. And so I'll have some darker tones, but also it's kind of this cloud level woo-woo feel. So I have some rose gold in there as well. So you'll kind of see all of those colors in my group too. So whenever you're branding your own group, you can kind of take those things that maybe have nothing to do with nails and translate them into your community. So that is to say, are you outspoken and confident? And, that might be some bolder colors. If you really like a punk rock culture, if you are very kind of prim and proper and girly, flirty, that sort of thing, that feeling, then that might translate into more pastels and things. One of my good friends, who's with another company, she has a lot of florals and, that kind of feeling, on her page. So, you'll find a lot of florals like in her Facebook and Instagram post, or she might feature an item that has like a beautiful floral print on it as well. So I kind of want my home, I want my group to, well, let me take a step back here. Thinking about branding, here is kind of like an action step of how to start fleshing out what your brand is like. So you just take out a sheet of paper, and this doesn't have to relate to nails at all, but start writing down words that kind of appeal to you? You know, how do you want your brand or your group to look, smell, taste, feel? What feelings do you want people to get whenever they go into your group, and whenever they interact with you? And, you know, maybe don't take that quite so literally, but I love going to Aveda salons. And I love the way that they smell. You know, they have a lot of like kind of herbal, you know, smells, bergamot and rosemary, and well, maybe not rosemary, but like eucalyptus and mint and like all of these awesome smells. I want my whole house to smell like that, you know? You know, it's a very kind of peaceful feeling whenever you go in there. And whenever you go in, you see a lot of like earth tones and very kind of calm, mossy, kind of organic, all of those words. They might not directly correlate to nails, but I really kind of like, you know, that palette. And I also kind of like that feeling whenever I go in. I'm like, I'm going to get a scalp massage. I'm going to get a hand massage. Like, it's very experiential. It's not a haircut, you know, it's an experience whenever you go into an Aveda salon. So on your paper, you know, you can write down the name of a song that you like and how that song makes you feel. You know, what does that song actually mean? You know, look at your own wardrobe. You know, is it a lot of black? Do you have a lot of like sparkly things? You know, all different kinds of things. Do you have like a more like bohemian vibe to your wardrobe? You know, think about the way you want people to feel relaxed. You want them to feel energized. All of those different things kind of tie into it. And from there, your next action step is going to kind of look at those and find like the common themes, find the common ground there. And then, I was kind of talking with Jen about this before, then you can go on Pinterest and find a color palette. Let me see. And that can be, you know, a Joanna Gaines, you know, color palette for barn. What is that? Like a country chic type of, you know, what am I looking for here? Anybody? Shiplap. Always with the shiplap. But you know, they have different color palettes that she does love her shiplap. Oh, funny. You can find like paint palettes, or where there's like a bird's nest in different colors of eggs or something. And, you know, you're not going to throw a picture of a bird's nest or shiplap in your group necessarily, but unless that's part of your branding somehow. But, you know, you can use that to find a color palette that kind of appeals to you. And then you can build off of that to start making like your graphics for saying, you know, thank you for ordering with me, or an album color, or, hey, I have a sale coming up here on X day or something. You know, tie those colors in. So that is kind of how you would start, just basically creating the colors for your branding. Now, now we can kind of switch over to social media like a little bit more and kind of dig in there. You can even tailor your post and your posting time to the time where your guests, your customer base, whenever they're going to be shopping and checking Facebook and everything. So for my group, let's say, I had mentioned that there are a lot of moms in my group. And if you're also a mom, you kind of realize that all of the breakfast mayhem, the daycare drop-offs, school drop-offs and everything kind of wrap up around like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So you get home from dropping the kids off or whatever, or standing out at the bus stop. And then finally you can sit down and relax for the 5 minutes that you have in the morning to, check Facebook or something like that. So right about 9:30, 10 o'clock, boom, that's whenever my ladies are on. And then also after dinner is wrapped up, and, for toddler bedtime, you think right about like 8 o'clock or so. So my ladies come back right around like 8:30, 9 o'clock or so. So you can kind of not only look at your admin tools and analytics on your Facebook app to kind of see where those spikes are for interaction, but you can even tailor your timing with their shopping habits and their Facebook habits as well. So I actually follow, I had mentioned, inspiration and productivity porn. I follow a lot of different people, and some of those would include, Marie Forleo, absolutely love her. Gary Vaynerchuk, and that's who I'm going to talk about for just a moment there. Gary Vaynerchuk, he kind of gets like the rap of being like the hustle guy, but really he is about social media and engagement. He actually has a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. Some of y'all may have read it before, but very large nutshell here. Jab, 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 right hook is give, give, give before you ask. So that was right hook. That's my right hand. Anyway, so that's give, 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 and then ask. So you want to make sure that you're putting out content that is of value, and kind of filling other people's cups before you, great book, right? I love Gary's stuff. And if you're not following Gary Vaynerchuk already, use headphones if you have little kids around, or, use those fringe hours to kind of listen to his stuff if you have little ones around. But because the language gets a little salty, but we're real. We're real people, and it's okay. So anyway, it's all about like really providing value before you can even, really kind of dare to ask. Because also that is going to help build rapport and also build trust there as well. So anyway, and people do want to kind of reciprocate and, shop from you in return as well. So there is that. Now, that is, I was trying to come in the door. Welcome to YouTube forever. All right, so Facebook branding, we kind of went through, color palettes and posts and providing value. We can kind of switch over to Instagram. I personally haven't really used Instagram to its full potential yet, but there's a couple of things that we can talk about here. Now, I think it's important to kind of discuss who is on what platform and why. Facebook is definitely more social and leaving comments and everything. And while you can still use comments on Instagram, it's more, just kind of quick satisfaction, instant gratification. That's the term I'm looking for. Scrolling through your feed, and I rarely comment on things, but I'm starting to do that more. And in turn, people see, what is that? Click. And then people will come over to Instagram and convert to shoppers. So that's cool. Now, Instagram, I actually use what's called an Instagram grid. And Instagram, whenever you're looking at it on your screen, there are rows of 3, 1, 2, 3. And you can set up a pattern, actually. And so mine is a little checkerboard pattern of quotes or something, kind of interesting that I write in rose gold lettering on a white background. And then I watermark everything on Instagram, by the way. Because a lot of people will repost something and not necessarily give credit. So make sure you're watermarking. That happens across all platforms, but especially Instagram. So I have a checkerboard pattern set up. And so if people kind of look at that, they're like, ooh, it's it's visually interesting. So people will scroll through your feed and, see different types of nails until they find something that appeals to them and click on that. So I would also say that there are some other people like, oh my gosh, there's a very, help me out, the blogger that does Elite Blog Academy. It's like Simple Homemade. I don't know. See, she's so memorable. No, she's awesome. Her name is escaping me right now. But anyway, she has her color palette of, I think it's around 6 colors that she has. And so she has made a single column. And whenever you post one thing, everything shifts over by one thing. So it's this rotating column of, red, orange, yellow, blue, indigo, violet, or whatever her colors are, of quotes, or, come check out the planner that I just made, that's being released on Monday, so that column, but it's really cool looking. So it's one of like a quote and then picture. There for a while, I even had the checkerboard going that had, it went quote, quote people, quote product, quote thing. So it would be just kind of alternated between 3 different things. And because it's checkerboard, it would be all of the things, and it might be, oh my gosh, I really love washi tape, and then another thing would be, oh, here are my nails. And then the next thing will be, hey, I'm living the awesome life and I'm having fun. Thank you so much, Color Street Nails, for being awesome and, helping me do this different thing. So anyway, the branding on there, you can put not only your color palette, but also what kind of quotes you want to use. Jules actually does all different kinds of things that are related to beauty. So she could have something about her doing hair. She had this awesome video about her doing hair, which is another thing that she does as well. And it was just fascinating. I swear I watched that video like over and over and over again. But, just different things that are specific to you and your brand. So let's see. So it's really about instant gratification on Instagram. Now, whenever you think about Pinterest, the person that's going to be on Pinterest is somebody that's using a visual search engine. I think we've kind of touched on this before, but if I have, I'm talking about, don't know the name. Yeah, right. So Pinterest, visual search engine, if I'm making something with chicken for dinner and I'm looking for recipe ideas, I'm not going to go to Google and search chicken recipes because it's going to pull up all sorts of different things on chicken and where to buy chicken. And this is what a chicken farm looks like. And I don't want to see that. But I would probably go onto Pinterest and say chicken recipes, and then boom, I'm hit with a bunch of stunning photography about, chicken dishes. And I'm like, ooh, that looks good. That looks delicious. Oh, and it has potatoes. I have potatoes too. Cool. Let's do this. Boom. So people use Pinterest not as a social network, but as a visual search engine. And so I don't comment on Pinterest posts unless I have like, oh, I tried this one. Here's my picture, but it's not necessarily social. It's more, I guess, objective driven whenever people go there, unless, of course, we're just having Pinterest time, So it sounds like my house is taking off. It's because the garage is opening directly below me. So sorry if you hear this rumbling. Anyway, okay, so Pinterest, as far as branding goes, you can use that whenever you are watermarking your photos. And the more, the more material that I put onto Pinterest, the more I see people repinning stuff. the more I really realized that branding and watermarking is important on Pinterest. So if somebody's going to be searching nail art, then if they see a beautiful picture of Southern Belle, then I want them to see, ooh, Southern Belle, nailwoo.com or shopnailwoo.com. And then a link back to either my shopping page or to my VIP group as well, or request a sample, blah, 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 you know, and put a lot of text in that photo because people aren't going to be they're not going to be reading they're not going to be reading the description necessarily. So, oh gosh, I really want to go down the rabbit hole on Pinterest, but I'll try to keep it just to branding. At this point, what questions do you guys have about branding, or what are some of the challenges that y'all are facing with branding? Basically, I would say that the most applicable thing for us to kind of walk away with today is, sorry, I'm just watching for comments, is to really kind of develop that list of things that appeal to you and kind of defining the smell, taste, you know, sound, feel, like all of that, kind of defining that and then carrying that into the group, so that you are not necessarily posting things that are not applicable. You know, they're going to throw a curveball for somebody. All right. So
I'm going to just unmute myself because I was writing a novel.
Okay.
Do you think that a lot of that stuff happens naturally over time? Like for me, I feel like I have a brand without having the logo just by the crap I've talked about for the last year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning my thought is I don't want people to leave here today and rack their brain and ask us 900 million questions because they're stuck on who they are. Because I feel like when people are put on point, they get freaked out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think you don't have to get like super, you know, existential here about, you know, who you are, but, you know, go look at your Pinterest boards and I'll see that I have a lot of like cooking and kids stuff and, you know, my style and nails, and, you know, vlogging and inspiration and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll take the mom thing, I'll take the inspiration thing, you know, and just kind of like run with that, I guess. So yeah, and then like a little bit of the my style thing too. But yeah, and then you just kind of roll that into a little ball. And then from there, you know, that's really going to, whenever you're making decisions about making graphics, then you can look at, you know, the font. Does this big headline font, you know, does this match up with, you know, I might use something that's kind of like swooshy and then something that's like a little bit more, you know, structured, but you know, like big flashing lights and, you know, a circus looking font or something, it would just look really kind of out of place on my page. So, you know, it's just whenever, or even like ordering business cards or your Tuesday cards or something, you know. So, yeah. And it can even, you know, be translated into the background of whenever you go live as well. And if y'all are not going live, oh my goodness, it's not, you know, I wish for everybody to kind of get over that hump about going live. I actually have like all of my little thank you cards and stuff that people have sent me, you know, and it's part of like the gratitude kind of woo-woo feel as well, because it's just like they mean so much to me. And so I want people to be like, that's the one that I sent her. I see it right there, you know? So, Anyway, yes, I want for you guys to go live. And I think that that is really incredibly important as well, because people can see all of these graphics. But whenever they interact with you and yes, go live, whenever they interact with you, then they're going to feel more connected to you and really know who you are a little bit more. I have a sleepy time voice, I've been told. So it's just very kind of relaxing, and, you could listen to me read a bedtime story or something and be like, okay, boom, I'm tired now. So that kind of plays into even the calm feeling, the Aveda Salon, kind of feeling that I have in my group as well. But anyway, I think just above all, branding, you really want to put your authentic self out there, because if you don't, then people can really see through that, a mile away. I want to have like the big, loud, like in your face, like high energy thing. But, while I do have a lot of nervous energy, perhaps because of this, but, I'm not, I don't know, Olympic roller skater or something. I don't know, with somebody that has a lot of energy. But is roller skating? The roller skating is not an Olympic thing. Anyway, I'm just saying that if I put that out there, there's a disconnect, and people are going to spot that and say like, oh wow, that's really salesy and creepy, and it's just not in line with my branding. So, but going live, the way that people respond to you also, like people look at me and they go, oh, it's like, because I guess because I'm petite and, the way that I talk, I don't know. But, people will also kind of tell you what your branding is, like in the way that they respond to you as well. So, but yeah, going live. You're terrified to go live, but you have. It's so important, then the other thing about branding is that, let's say for some reason, like the stopping block for you not going live would be like, well, what if they don't like me? What if I somehow like offend people, or I'm just not their flavor? Then they don't belong in your community. Ouch. That kind of hurts to, that hurts to hear. And, whenever you do put your branding out there, your authentic self, numbers may go down, but at some point you have to realize that member counts in your group, they are vanity numbers, and the people that stay and want to hang out with you, and they want to hang out in the Aveda Salon and the lounge and everything, then those are your authentic, customer base, and those are the people that are going to support you week after week. So the quicker that you can kind of hone in on what's important to those people and how you can better serve those people, then, the better off you're going to be, because they're going to attract other people that are your tribe as well. So, well, that is kind of a, kind of sky level overview, a little bit of clouds, a little bit of dirt, to kind of work on there. Yeah, you don't have to really get, bogged down with it. If anybody kind of hits a snag or a roadblock, or, kind of feel like, I don't know, that it's kind of difficult to move forward, or you have some kind of questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. And I'm happy to kind of help you work through that, and maybe kind of give you an objective, like outsider's point of view as well. Quality over quantity. Yeah, for sure. You hate your voice? Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous rewatching a live. It's like listening to your voice on voicemail or something. Like, that's not me. I think Sam posted something, or had reposted something from somebody that said like, I have a customer service voice and it doesn't sound like me at all. It's ridiculous. I hate rewatching lives or something. Yeah, quality over quantity for sure. All right, guys. Yeah, reach out to me anytime. I'm happy to help you guys through it. And, maybe we can revisit and kind of dig into the how-tos on graphics and things like that that are, going to perform the best on, let's say, Pinterest or Instagram as well. All right. Well,
sorry, before you log off on me here, can you just PM me what your information is? Because you do consulting on the side, so when I load it to YouTube, I'll put your consulting information in there.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, it's simpletreesocial.com. I'll send you a quick PM just so it's at hand.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust myself.
Okay, sounds good. All righty. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to reach out. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I love listening to myself talk. So.
Yeah, right. Thank you so much, Betty. I appreciate it.
All right, it's my pleasure, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.